the sweet lie we all fell for. You know that feeling when you crave something sweet? Just a tiny piece of chocolate after lunch, or maybe that caramel latte you deserve after a long day? Yeah, that was me. Every single day. But what if I told you that something as innocent as sugar was quietly rewriting how my body functioned, how my mind felt, and even how I looked in the mirror? 14 days. That's all it took for me to realize that sugar had been controlling me, not the other way around. And what happened next, honestly, shocked me. In this video, I'm going to take you through exactly what changed physically, mentally, and emotionally when I stopped eating sugar for just 2 weeks. We'll talk about the unexpected withdrawal symptoms no one warns you about, the massive energy crash that hit on day 3, and then how my body began to reset itself in ways I couldn't have imagined. By the end, you'll understand not just what sugar does to your body, but what your body is truly capable of when it finally breaks free from it. So stay with me, because by the time we reach the end of this video, you might never look at sugar the same way again.
Day 1 to 3. The shock your body never expected. It all starts with a decision. You wake up one morning and say, "That's it, no more sugar." You think you're ready. You've read the articles, seen the videos, maybe even planned your meals. You feel empowered, like this is the moment your new life begins. But no one tells you what really happens in the next few hours. At first, everything feels normal. You have your black coffee instead of your usual caramel latte. You skip the muffin. You tell yourself this will be easy, maybe even refreshing. But by mid-morning, something begins to shift. Your mind feels slightly foggy, like the world just got a little heavier. You check your phone. You scroll. You distract yourself. But under the surface, your brain is quietly screaming for its fix. Not because you need food, but because sugar has been your brain's favorite source of instant reward for years. Every bite of sugar floods your system with dopamine, that little chemical that tells you, hey, this feels good, do it again. So when you suddenly cut it off, your brain doesn't thank you, it protests. And that's when the cravings hit. You start imagining sweet things you haven't thought about in months. That chocolate bar in the back of the pantry, the leftover cookies, the soda you swore you only drank sometimes. It's not hunger. It's addiction withdrawal, plain and simple. By the afternoon of day 1, the headaches begin. It feels like someone's tightening a band behind your eyes. You tell yourself it's just caffeine or maybe dehydration, but deep down, you know this is your body detoxing. Your blood sugar levels are dropping for the first time in years. Your pancreas, which has been working overtime to pump out insulin every time you eat something sweet, is suddenly quiet, confused, trying to figure out what just happened. And that's just day 1. By day 2, your patience begins to crack. You wake up feeling drained, maybe even irritated at the smallest things. Your body feels heavy, sluggish. You snap at people without knowing why. You tell yourself it's just one of those days. But in truth, your metabolism is starting to reprogram itself. Without sugar as a quick energy source, your body begins searching for alternatives. It starts turning toward fat. But that process doesn't happen overnight. It's like teaching your body a new language after years of speaking only one. The transition is awkward, messy, uncomfortable. Meanwhile, your brain is negotiating, whispering excuses, trying to trick you back into old habits. Just one bite won't hurt. You've been good for 2 days. You deserve this. But here's the wild part. The more you resist, the louder your body speaks. You start noticing how much sugar hides in your everyday life. That healthy smoothie, packed with fructose. The yogurt you thought was a good choice, 10 teaspoons of sugar. Even your favorite dressing, loaded with syrup and preservatives that keep you hooked. By the end of day 2, most people give in, and it's not because they lack discipline, it's because their biochemistry is recalibrating. The brain is rewiring its reward pathways, and that comes with real physical discomfort. And then comes day 3, the turning point. This is where your body begins to shift gears. You wake up feeling strange, lighter somehow, even if you're still tired. The cravings are still there, but quieter. Your hunger feels different, less frantic, more stable. You start realizing that maybe, just maybe, the things you thought you needed were actually controlling you. Inside your cells, something powerful is happening. Your insulin levels are beginning to normalize. Your liver, which was once overloaded with sugar storage, starts to release fat for energy. And as your blood sugar stabilizes, inflammation, that silent fire that sugar constantly fuels, begins to calm down. You may not see it yet when you look in the mirror, but deep within, your metabolism is waking up. Your body is learning to burn clean again. And emotionally, you start to feel a quiet pride. Because every time you resist that urge, every time you choose control over craving, you're not just saying no to sugar. You're saying yes to clarity, to strength, to freedom. Those first 3 days, they're the battle before the breakthrough. They expose every pattern, every craving, every lie sugar ever told you about comfort, energy, or happiness. And when you make it through them, when you come out the other side, something inside you changes forever. Because you realize you weren't addicted to sugar. You were addicted to the person you thought you were when you had it.
Day 4 to 7. When the cravings turn into clarity. By the time you reach day 4, something unexpected begins to happen. The chaos in your body starts to quiet down. The constant hunger, the irritability, the desperate thoughts about just one cookie. They don't disappear, but they lose their power. You start to notice space. For the first time in a long time, your mind isn't consumed by the next meal, the next snack, the next sugar hit. It's strange, almost uncomfortable, because you've lived your whole life with those invisible urges running the show. Now, without them, you're left alone with your own awareness. And in that space, you start to see things clearly. You realize how often you ate not because you were hungry, but because you were bored, stressed, or anxious. You start noticing your triggers, the times of day when you'd normally reach for something sweet just to escape a feeling. But this time, instead of obeying the craving, you watch it pass. And that's the moment everything starts to shift. Your body is adapting. Your cells are learning to use fat as fuel, a cleaner and more stable source of energy. Your blood sugar levels are no longer spiking and crashing like a roller coaster. They're steady, calm, predictable. And with that balance, something magical happens. Your energy returns, but not the jittery, artificial kind you used to get from sugar. It's deeper, real, sustainable. You wake up feeling awake. You start moving differently. Your thoughts feel sharper. Your focus cleaner. And even your emotions begin to change. Because sugar doesn't just affect the body, it manipulates the mind. Every crash after a sugar high comes with a dip in serotonin, your brain's happiness chemical. So when you remove sugar, those highs and lows start to even out. You begin to feel emotionally stable for the first time in a long time. By day 5, your skin may start to look different. The puffiness fades, dark circles soften. Your digestion improves, less bloating, less heaviness. Your sleep deepens. You fall asleep faster, wake up clearer. It's as if your body has been waiting for this, waiting to finally stop fighting against itself. But don't mistake this calm for the end of the journey. Around day 6, the cravings try to make one last comeback. It's subtle, a memory,
a smell, a thought that brings back the comfort of sugar. Maybe someone brings donuts to work. Maybe you walk past a bakery and feel that old pull again. But this time, something's different. You see it, you feel it, but it doesn't own you anymore. You take a breath, you smile, and you walk past it. That's the moment you realize you've started to break the loop. Your body isn't the one begging for sugar anymore. Your mind was, and now even it's starting to heal. By day 7, you're no longer counting days. You're simply living. The fog has lifted. The cravings are whispers now, not shouts, and every cell in your body feels like it's beginning to exhale. You realize that sugar was never just a food. It was a comfort, a distraction, a chemical illusion of control. And once you remove it, what's left is something raw, something honest, something real. This is the week when your body stops missing sugar and starts remembering who it was before it ever needed it.
Day 8 to 10. The awakening of the body and mind. By the time you reach the 8th day, something remarkable starts to unfold, not just in your body, but in your mind. You wake up, and for the first time in years, you feel light. Not just physically, but mentally. The fog that used to sit between you and the world, the one you never even noticed until it was gone, has lifted. You look in the mirror and see a different version of yourself. Your eyes are clearer. Your skin looks alive again. There's a quiet energy in your face, not the kind that comes from caffeine or sugar, but the kind that comes from balance. Your body has begun to trust you again. For years, it was trapped in survival mode, chasing sugar highs, crashing, then begging for more. But now the signals are changing. Your hunger feels natural. Your energy feels earned. And for the first time, you're not chasing food, you're fueling life. Inside, your metabolism has fully shifted gears. Your liver is no longer storing fat, it's burning it. Your cells have become metabolically flexible, switching from glucose to fat-burning mode with ease. You've entered what scientists call metabolic adaptation, a phase where your body becomes incredibly efficient at using its own energy reserves. And the benefits? You can feel them. Your mind feels razor sharp. Tasks that used to drain you now flow effortlessly. You find yourself calmer in moments that once triggered stress. Even your relationship with food begins to transform. You eat slower, more intentionally, almost with gratitude. But what's most fascinating isn't what's happening physically, it's what's happening emotionally. Because as your blood sugar stabilizes, so does your mood. You realize that so many of your emotions, the anxiety, the irritability, the moments of sadness, weren't random. They were biochemical. And now, without those constant sugar spikes, your emotions start to even out, like calm water after a storm. It's not that life gets easier, it's that you become steadier. By day 9, you start to experience something powerful: mental clarity. It feels as if someone turned on the lights in a room you didn't even know was dark. Your thoughts flow. Your focus deepens. You start remembering things, small details, names, sensations that you didn't even realize you'd lost to the fog of sugar. You feel awake. Truly awake. And yet with that clarity comes reflection. You start thinking about how much of your life was subtly controlled by cravings. How many decisions, moods, and even relationships were influenced by something as simple as sugar. And that realization hits hard, because you see how much of your energy was never really yours. Day 10 is almost poetic. You wake up before your alarm. There's no crash, no morning grogginess. You stretch, breathe, and feel your body respond. Your heartbeat feels calm, your digestion feels light, your mind feels still. And maybe the most beautiful part, food no longer defines your day. You're no longer chasing pleasure through bites of sweetness. Instead, you feel pleasure in the calmness of your body, the steadiness of your mind, and the strength of your will. This is what awakening feels like. It's not about restriction, it's about rediscovery. Remembering what real energy, focus, and peace actually feel like when they're not borrowed from a spoonful of sugar. And once you felt that, you can't unfeel it.
Day 11 to 12, the deep detox and emotional reset. By day 11, you begin to realize something profound. This journey was never just about quitting sugar. It was about remembering who you are without it. Up until now, the changes were mostly physical. The fatigue, the cravings, the shifting energy. But what happens next goes far deeper. It starts quietly. You wake up and notice that your body feels clean. Your digestion, your sleep, even your breathing feels different, lighter, smoother. There's a sense of stillness inside you, as if your body is finally catching up with the decision your mind made days ago. That's because what's happening now isn't just a detox of the body, it's a detox of emotion. For years, sugar was your comfort, your tiny escape, your reward after a long day, your distraction when things felt heavy. Every bite, every sip wasn't just sweetness, it was a bandage, a way to numb what you didn't want to feel. But when the sugar is gone, those emotions have nowhere to hide. And that's when the real detox begins. You might feel more emotional around these days, more reflective, maybe even a little raw. Memories resurface, feelings you've ignored bubble up. It's not weakness, it's healing. Your body isn't just cleansing toxins. It's releasing emotions stored in every cell, every organ, every fiber of your being. Science shows that sugar impacts the same reward centers in the brain that respond to comfort, safety, and love. So when you remove it, your mind starts searching for those feelings elsewhere, in connection, in purpose, in truth. And that's where the transformation happens. By day 12, something inside you clicks. You begin to feel at peace with the discomfort. You stop fighting the process. You start trusting it. You no longer crave the artificial highs because you're starting to experience something much more powerful: emotional stability. You find joy in smaller things: a quiet morning, a deep breath, a clear thought. It's strange at first, how simple happiness feels when it's not chemically engineered. But this simplicity, it feels real. Physically, your body continues to cleanse. Your liver, the organ that's been working hardest through all this, is now thriving. Inflammation continues to drop. Your skin glows with natural radiance. Even your appetite stabilizes, no longer driven by dopamine spikes, but by true hunger. You're no longer eating for escape. You're eating for life. And that's when you realize this wasn't just a detox. It was a reset for your biology, your habits, your emotions, your sense of control. What sugar took away piece by piece, your focus, your balance, your calm, your body is now reclaiming, one heartbeat at a time. By the end of day 12, you don't just feel different. You are different. You're quieter inside, lighter. Not because you lost sugar, but because you lost the weight of dependence. And that silence within you, that's not emptiness.
That's freedom.
Day 13, the turning point, when you meet the real you. Day 13, you wake up before the alarm again, but this time there's no rush, no need to prove anything. The world feels quiet, and so do you. Something inside you has shifted. It's not just about what you stopped eating anymore. It's about who you've become in the process. For nearly 2 weeks, you've faced every craving, every mood swing, every internal negotiation. You've walked through the fog of withdrawal, the exhaustion, the emotional turbulence, and now you've reached something few people ever do: peace. Not the kind that's loud or proud, but the kind that hums quietly in your chest, steady and unshakable. You sit there, sipping your water, maybe your unsweetened coffee, and you realize something. This is the first morning in years where you don't wake up needing something to feel okay.
Day 13, the turning point, when you meet the real you. Day 13, you wake up before the alarm again. But this time, there's no rush, no need to prove anything. The world feels quiet, and so do you. Something inside you has shifted. It's not just about what you stopped eating anymore. It's about who you've become in the process. For nearly 2 weeks, you've faced every craving, every mood swing, every internal negotiation. You've walked through the fog of withdrawal, the exhaustion, the emotional turbulence. And now, you've reached something few people ever do: peace. Not the kind that's loud or proud, but the kind that hums quietly in your chest, steady and unshakable. You sit there, sipping your water, maybe your unsweetened coffee, and you realize something. This is the first morning in years where you don't wake up needing something to feel okay. No sugar, no stimulation, no escape. Just you. And that realization is both powerful and a little terrifying, because without the distractions, without that hit of sweetness to take the edge off, you're face to face with yourself, the real you. And for a moment, that's overwhelming, because you start to see the truth, the habits you built to feel safe, the cycles you repeated just to fill a silence, the ways you used food to comfort pain that had nothing to do with hunger. But instead of running from it this time, you breathe into it. You see it. You accept it. And that's the turning point. Because when you can look at yourself, all of yourself, without judgment, without shame, without needing to numb the discomfort, that's when true healing begins. Around this time, your body feels renewed. Your cells are firing efficiently. Your digestion feels effortless. Your skin glows. Your energy has depth, not a quick burst, but a steady current that carries you through the day with calm focus. You've regained something that modern life quietly took away: connection to your own rhythm. Food no longer controls you. Sugar no longer defines your moods. You're not chasing highs anymore. You're simply present, and presence is power. By the evening of day 13, you may find yourself reflecting on the journey. You remember those first 3 days, the headaches, the cravings, the doubts. You think about day 5, when the fog started to lift. You think about day 10, when your body finally started to wake up. And now, here you are. Not just sugar-free, but clear. The voice in your head that used to whisper, "just one bite," has gone quiet. And in that silence, another voice emerges, softer, but infinitely stronger. It's your intuition, your truth. The voice that was always there, buried beneath the noise of cravings, fatigue, and dependency. You finally hear it now, and it's saying, this is who you were meant to be all along. 13 days. That's all it took to find your way back home. Not to a diet, not to perfection, but to yourself.
Day 14, the new beginning, life after sugar. Day 14, 2 weeks. Just 14 days, and yet it feels like you've crossed a lifetime. When you wake up now, your mornings feel different. There's no fog, no anxiety, no crash waiting behind that first cup of coffee. You feel grounded, calm, steady, alive. Your relationship with food has changed completely. You no longer eat because you're restless or tired or sad. You eat because your body asks, not your emotions. Every bite tastes richer now. Real flavors come alive. The natural sweetness of fruit, the salt of the earth, the deep aroma of coffee. It's like you've reawakened your senses, not just your taste buds, but your awareness. And it's not just physical. It's spiritual. Because for the first time in years, you're no longer chasing the next rush. You're no longer running from silence. You've learned to sit with it, to listen to yourself, and realize that peace doesn't come from sugar. It comes from balance. Around this point, most people expect fireworks, some grand finale moment where everything changes overnight. But that's not how it happens. The real transformation is quiet. It's in the little things, the calm in your heartbeat, the lightness in your thoughts, the stillness in your cravings. You realize you've stopped thinking about sugar altogether. It's not forbidden anymore. It's just irrelevant. That's true freedom. You walk through your day with a quiet confidence. Your energy doesn't spike or crash. It flows. You no longer look at dessert as temptation, but as choice. You've reclaimed your power to decide. And when you see others reaching for sugar, you don't judge. You understand. Because you've been there. You know what it feels like to be trapped in that loop. But now, you also know something most people don't. That the body can heal, the mind can reset, and the soul can find peace again. By the evening of day 14, you take a deep breath. You look back at how far you've come, the cravings, the withdrawal, the self-discovery. And you realize it wasn't really about quitting sugar. It was about waking up. You didn't just remove something toxic. You made space for something real. You found energy that doesn't fade, peace that doesn't depend on food, and clarity that doesn't need to be sweetened. Day 14 isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new relationship with your body, your mind, and your life. Because once you've seen what you're capable of without sugar, you'll never settle for less again.
The sweetest freedom. 14 days. It sounds simple, but if you've made it this far, you know this wasn't just a challenge. It was a mirror. Because quitting sugar isn't only about changing what's on your plate, it's about changing what's inside you. You faced the headaches, the cravings, the emotional storms. You've seen what happens when your body starts to heal, and what surfaces when your mind can no longer hide behind the sweetness. You've learned that the hardest part of transformation isn't the physical withdrawal, it's letting go of who you were when sugar was your comfort. And now, standing here on the other side, you understand something powerful. You didn't lose sugar, you found yourself. You found energy that feels clean, mornings that start without chaos, clarity that doesn't fade by midday. You found balance, not in restriction, but in awareness. And maybe the most surprising part? You realize you never needed sugar to feel pleasure, happiness, or peace. You just needed presence. That's the real sweetness, the kind that comes from within. So as you move forward, remember this. The goal was never to be perfect. It was to be awake. Because once you wake up to what your body is truly capable of, you'll never fall asleep in your habits again. If this journey spoke to you, if you saw a piece of your own story in these 14 days, Then take a second to breathe, reflect, and share this video. Because someone out there is still trapped in the same loop you just broke free from. And your story might be the key that opens their door. And if you want to keep growing, keep learning, keep unlocking the potential inside you, subscribe. Stay with us, because this isn't the end. It's just the beginning of a new way of living. Lighter, clearer, stronger, and finally free.